Love this podcast? Support this show through the supporter feature from Acast. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hit it!
Broadcasting live from the CKTV studios in Niagara, it's the Kevin Jack Show.
Here comes the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster. Dial emergency number. Still love you like that.
Call now, 905-688-2582, 1-877-610-2582.
Yeah, man.
Or text Kevin with your thoughts and opinions at 61010.
5:08. A beautiful summer day to you. Hope you're not melting. Take care out there. Live from 12 8th Street. It's Jim Fannon in for KJ. You have your digits. You know how to interact with the show. Same rules apply. Got a packed show for you today. Touch us up on Facebook at 610CKTB, on Twitter at Jim Fannon Show on Twitter. We've got it all. LinkedIn, Instagram. Check out our podcasts. You can hear all the shows out there on 610CKTB.com, including streaming live. Today on the show, Pat Murphy of Union Events. Their first year was Scene Music Fest. A solid hit out of the park. He's one of the organizers, a talent buyer with Union Events. He'll come in at 5:15. Looking forward to this. Pam King is sleeping in the streets for raising awareness of homelessness in the Niagara region. Most people don't think it's a huge problem in the Niagara region, in St. Catharines specific. Pam King, also known to the station through her group Tyler's Warmth, we're taking in warm clothing and coats for the less fortunate. In that season, will come in and talk to us about her new event to raise awareness for homelessness in Niagara region. Pam King will be in at the 5:30. Erin Berger's going to check in with us. Culture Radio Today. Erin Berger is a former last year's Niagara Music Award winner. He's running a little gig down in Niagara Falls at the Q, the Capital Q, in the Q District. And today they're outside. Instead of at the Capital Q, they're across the street on an outdoor stage. Erin Berger, former Niagara Music Award winner. Many of the Niagara Music Award winners are headlining and playing the Friendship Festival tomorrow. So hopefully we're going to touch him up, come in around 6 o'clock, and then Erin is the executive director for the Niagara Music Awards, and she'll talk to us about the full lineup. We've got an impressive lineup. We're going to hit the stage in Fort Erie for the Friendship Festival, and then another festival. We're festival happy over here, coming straight out of Scene. We just finished up with the Niagara Integrated Film Festival, NIF. And then in August, we're headed into the Niagara Jazz Festival. Juliet Dunn will be in. Her and her partner, Peter Shea, have organized the event this year, and it looks like it's going to be a beauty. And we'll take your calls. 905-688-2582. Patrick's running the board today, filling in for KJ. First out, we're going to go to Pat Murphy, talk about Scene. It was hot down there, but we only got a little bit of rain late in the day yesterday. It held off. Crystal Line came in yesterday for my show. We do a little gig here at the Jim Fannon Show Sundays, noon to 1. Marissa and Josh came in yesterday to do an acoustic set. They were performing as Crystal Line, and they were beautiful. Marissa's just so sweet. And then from here, they headed over to the main stage at 4 o'clock. They took up the main stage at Montebello Park, and it was roasting both days. Great weather. And then the rains came last night and cooled everything. Well, it didn't cool everything off. cut one of the sets short. And then they hit back up on the stage. I guess, yeah, they have to call it when you get the lightning like that. But Scene turns out to be, the place was packed. I didn't stay for the whole event Saturday night, but even when I was down there for Monster Truck and Sheepdogs, the place was filling up nicely. And that's the first time they've gone away from the Market Square performance and taken it. I mean, it's still downtown, but now some of the vendors are saying, ouch. You put all the headliners in the park, man. We had no one in the bars. So you can't please everyone all the time. I get Union Events come in. They spent a lot of money, did some great PR with it, and then brought in some headliners, too. So I guess you can't have the best of both worlds. You can't have everyone in the park and in the bars at the same time. I had to make my way all over the place. I needed to see the CAC, the Kick and Rap, talented, and gives all his money to charity. Every cent he makes from music goes to charity. And I had to catch my boys, Theater Crisp. And what's better than getting a 610 shout-out when you walk in? I always go over to see Mox and Poncho, my buddy, running the board downstairs at the Pepper. Yo, what's up, Jim Fannon in the house? They mix it right into the song. You can't even tell it wasn't part of the song. 610 getting some pub, too. Up next, Pat Murphy. He's going to talk to us about the success that was Scene, how it was different from last year, and what we can expect next year right here on the Kevin Jack Show on 610 CKTB.
You're listening to The Kevin Jack Show, only on the one voice for Niagara, News Talk 610 CKTB. Call now, 905-688-2582, 1-877-610-2582, or text us your opinion to 61010.
Welcome back. I'm Jim Fannon for KJ. We're here till 7 o'clock. Got a packed show for you today. Pat Murphy, thanks for making the time. What are you just in town for Scene? Are you a local guy? Or
yeah, well, all my family's from St. Catharines, and I still hang out here a lot. So I wanted a day to recover post Scene, and then it's Canada Day tomorrow. So I'm just gonna hang out. I have a nephew that's 8 months old, so as much time as I can get in with him is always it's always great.
In the Friendship Festival tomorrow?
You know what? I think I have had my live music quota of...
Come on, man. You're a talent buyer. You can't get your fill of talent.
You know what? I'm saying this now, but come tomorrow, things might change. I might just I might get it itching to go to another festival. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe you'll see me there.
Tell me about your connection. How'd you get in with Scene, and what have you done differently this year?
Okay, so my story with Scene is quite a long one, but I'll try to make this brief. I started going 16 years old as a fan 11 years ago. Kind of worked into a volunteer position, worked up stage managing, doing marketing for the festival, social media, eventually booking. And about 3 years ago, I moved out of St. Catharines, and I moved to Toronto and started working for a national company, Union Events, and booking shows across the country. But I stayed very close with the organizers of Scene, and we chatted every year. I did a little bit of consulting for them, came to the festivals, all the while kind of making just mental notes. Hey, how could we improve this? If I was to work with them, what would I do? And, about 7 months ago, I was just thinking about it and sat down with Jen and Steve, who were the existing organizers, and said, hey, let's find a way to partner on this. Let's find a way to make it bigger and better for the community, for the fans, for the artists, for everybody. And we did. We found the way. And this year, we did a lot of things differently. We made it 2 days. We moved the main stage to Montebello Park. I think we really raised the bar in terms of production value, in terms of the experience for the fans. We really wanted to make this an event that the whole community can get behind, the whole family can come out to, and that people really look forward to every year.
Did you think you priced the kids out of the market? Because on Saturday, I didn't stay there till the end. But whenever I left, Monster Truck was on, or maybe it was Sheepdogs, I looked around. There was a lot of people my age. Not that there's 40 plus people aren't supposed to be out. But my niece said, "You're too old for Scene." I'm like, "What? Too old for Scene?" So at $40 for a day, $70 for the weekend. Do you think you priced the kids out of it? Because there wasn't a whole lot of young kids there. There were some, but it was a real mixed crowd.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think that the kids leaned more to day two, based on sonically the way that those bands sound. Monster Truck, Sheepdogs, Matthew Good especially. He's been around for 20 years in Canada.
Great point.
It brought out a lot of new faces to Scene, but I think that's a good thing. And some maybe people don't want to go both days. It was really hot out.
Damn straight it was.
The air conditioning's nice. So but
I had to keep walking back to the Mansion House just to cool down and catch a little bit of the Columbia game, and then walk. I must have went back to that park 10 times. My legs are killing me.
We were fortunate enough to have some air conditioned bathrooms backstage, and I was pretty much hanging out there the whole day.
Really?
I mean,
I didn't get that memo. You must have been with Erin Visentin. She was chirping from there. I just saw lights walk backstage with her kid.
Yeah, her kid's really cute too. So that was
she was
nice.
saying on the Twitter. So started in 1996. It's come a long way from attracting 800 people to town that came out to see that initial event. Now, has this been a consistent event every year?
It has been. Like I said, I haven't been involved with it since the conception. I would have been 8 years old at that time. So I was not old enough to hit the bars downtown. Yeah. But the last 11 years I've been involved, I've seen, I've had so many great memories, seen so many amazing bands and people out and experiences. I think it's proven that Scene has a reason to exist, and now we're giving it room to evolve, room to grow further, and really stay another 20 years. That's the goal with this festival, is long-term, institution for the people of Niagara and surrounding.
How do you answer the charge that this started out as a new music festival for independent small acts, and now we've gone big time, and Monster Truck certainly doesn't even need any of our pub right now? Well, I understand you got to bring in headliners to sell it, but what about the smaller guys starting out?
I think it's about delivering the best experience for everybody, and it's great to support local music. I mean, we had almost 50 local bands to Niagara on the festival. I don't know
50 out of how many?
Out of 108.
Oh, nice.
Almost 50%. If you go, extend beyond, just Niagara, you look at Hamilton, Monster Truck, Arkells, and then the other bands have played the festival before. Mariana's Trench has played before, Lights has played, Shea has played. So these aren't, foreign acts, or we're not bringing in, American acts to undercut the local talent. We're trying to bring in bigger Canadian acts that will complement the local talent and bring more people to the festival, because then the local acts that are playing, they reap the reward of that exposure when there's more people there. And unfortunately, right now Niagara doesn't have 108 bands that could sell that many tickets. So we have to mix in other cool acts to make people excited. And I think it's a great thing for the community, because you can go see your friend's band, you can go see your relative's band or your family's band, but then you can go see a band that you've been waiting to come to Niagara that doesn't have outlets to play that often, because we don't get that many big shows here, and if we can make a hybrid of the local festival and big names, I think that's a win-win.
Pat Murphy is my guest. He's with Union Events. We'll hold him over one more segment. We're talking about the success that the St. Catharines event for new entertainment was. Scene Music Fest rolls into town this weekend and kicks some ass. Well done. Pat Murphy, more with him right after this on 610 CKTB.
listening to The Kevin Jack Show, only on the one voice for Niagara, News Talk 610 CKTB. Call now, 905-688-2582, 1-877-610-2582, or text us your opinion to 61010.
I should have burned Berlin down, and now the drugs are slowly wearing off.
Welcome back. I'm Jim Fannon for Kevin Jack. Pat Murphy's in the booth with me. We're talking the success that was St. Catharines' event for New Entertainment Music Festival. That's a mouthful. Scene Music Fest.
Yeah, we like to call it Scene.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about, like, you guys are bringing some big money to town. You're signing some big acts. I know you can't speak to last year because you probably didn't have intimate details about the budgeting and stuff like that, but what type of budget you're running here?
The budget definitely increased greatly. I think that's important when you do an event of this size. There's so many moving parts that you need to ensure that you have adequate financials to cover those things.
All the bands get paid?
Not all the bands get paid. A good chunk of them.
Does a good majority of your budget go to bands?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then production. Our production was really stepped up this year. So the stage, that's the biggest stage. It's hit Montebello Park. A
lot of people impressed by the stage and the sound and the bass. It was a good range. It wasn't just really high horn tweeters and stuff like that. You had some good sub there too. Sound
was phenomenal, and it's actually rare that after a concert or a music festival that I see so many compliments on the sound.
Really?
Usually,
that's good news.
A lot of times you're at an outdoor festival. Some bands sound good. Some it's a wash. This one, it was just like a resoundingly clear. This sounded great, and I was even looking at some videos online today, and handheld digital camera stuff, and it sounded great. So I was really happy with that.
Now, sound quality, the most important thing of the music festival. When you get to some of the outlying venues, I experienced it firsthand, man. Detour is a tough room, man. I don't know if the sound guy was new there or whatever, but poor I Am Lion, I felt badly for him. Not one, the sound guy didn't know what he was doing, it seemed like, but that is a tough room to play with, the stairs and the way it's divided, brick walls. I don't know. It was a tough room to sound in.
Yeah, some rooms there's obstacles that would take a lot of money to fix, and not all of these bars are primarily music venues, so they don't maybe necessarily have the funds to invest it to make it sound as good as what we did in the park. But I think they all did their best, and it's there's definitely things that we're taking back from the festival and notes and food for thought in terms of where can we improve.
Can you hit on anything like that yet, or is it sunk in yet?
Well, one of the things that was talked about was, not as many people downtown in the bars.
Right.
And that's something that we're thinking about right now.
Staggering times. I think you had them staggered pretty well.
We did stagger them, and there was definitely great turnouts. There was times where certain bars were at capacity, but I think it's a growing pain of you're doing something so big in the park. You have food trucks there, you have all these vendors, you have people giving away free stuff, and just a really cool experience there. You can sit on the grass, you can sit on the bench. There's gazebos, all these types of dynamic things that you can do, so people didn't want to leave that much.
For sure.
And it's
too hot to walk anywhere.
It was too hot to kind of run around too. You were sweating through your shirt by the time you took 3 steps, right? That being said, it's also the bands that really were part of the festival that really promoted locally, they saw the best turnouts in the venues. Sometimes people show up and just expect things to work or people to be there, and we brought a lot of people downtown, so I think part of the onus comes on the bands. Okay, now find a way to get them to go see you,
right?
And whether that's there's viral marketing campaigns or posters or busking. I mean, get creative with it. Use the people there as a marketing tool for your art.
Tell me about the logistics. No bottles, no blankets, no chairs. When I got there, you couldn't go out the entrance, which was they've changed that, and I saw
we on day
the kinks out as you went, type of thing.
Definitely, yeah. Well, on day one, we found that we needed to maybe make a few tweaks on the entrance area, and
those restrictions on you or the city from the park. Your security. I mean, it's chairs. We bring chairs in there for grape and wine, don't we?
Chairs is interesting for a festival because it starts skewing with your capacity legally.
Oh, really?
And then there's also
safety, I guess.
Yeah, safety. I mean, I don't want to see a chair thrown across the room.
Not that it happens very often, but
I was at Niagara Wine Festival and I saw someone throw a chair at someone else. It's not the Wines Festival's fault,
right?
But we're trying to do everything we can to make it a safe environment for the people there.
Right.
And unfortunately, sometimes there has to be a bit of give and take. I would love to go to every festival and bring a cooler full of food and a chair and a blanket and all those things. But it's just, at the end of the day, we have to kind of find a balance.
Something else that struck me, too, when I go down to the park, I don't drink wine. I don't usually drink during the day because it just takes too much out of me, the gas. But I noticed that the sobriety level of this weekend was pretty high. I mean, I don't know if it's the effect of not having beer in the park and just having wine, because I know wine makes people cuckoo sometimes.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that whole, like, I do a grape and wine. I hate to say it. I mean, but it is a negative aspect of it. And I always say, geez, I wish I could get a beer here at Niagara Grape and Wine Festival. But how'd you find security, and what's your take on that? You've been to many grape and wine festivals before. You know what the look in the eye looks like.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And to be completely honest with you, Niagara Wine Festival is a great festival. It's a great institution. That's a huge deal for this community. But sometimes I don't like being surrounded by that many people that I feel could be a threat to my safety, or are being belligerent or shouting obscenities. And it's just, I don't think that that's the best representation of our community sometimes when you get to that level. And
wine seems to take you there quicker.
It can, yeah. And we also had a 5-point check system, where you have to go buy a ticket. First you have to get a wristband to show your ID.
That kept me from drinking. I didn't drink at the park at all. I'm like, I'm not going in that line. I'm not waiting in that line. I'm not waiting. And then that line leads to the bathroom line, and I just stayed away from it.
It's true. And I mean, you know what? I was impressed because the company that we brought in to handle a lot of the food and beverages, they're experts at it. They run Veld. They've done Edge Fest. They're doing millions of bar sales on some of their other festivals, so they really know how to logistically set it up to keep lines as short as possible, and also ensure that it's safe and that people that are of age are the only ones getting served, and that we have security on site, making sure that that's being watched over, and we have paid duty officers on site. And actually, what was remarkable on Saturday, which was the day that people drank more, given the demographic was just older, we only had 4 total evictions, 0 fights, no police incidents.
That's great news.
I don't put that many people anywhere, and that's a hard thing to accomplish.
How many people you think came through the park?
Over the 2 days is about 10,000 people.
Nice work.
Yeah, thank you.
And tell me the experience. What are you doing for these bands? Are they big city? You getting treated big city? You said air conditioned backstage. They got chocolate and Spumante Bambino or whatever, the yellow M&Ms. They got riders that say we need a certain hotel room.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy, I'll be honest with you, but we did try to go the extra mile in terms of our treatment of the artist. We had trailers back there. We had a little badminton setup. We had air-conditioned washrooms. We had full-on catering, lunch and dinner for all the bands playing the main stage.
That's where the badminton crack came from, lights. All right, I just saw something on Twitter about badminton. I'm like, what's badminton? I wasn't backstage. Next year.
Her and her crew. Yeah, I'll hook you up next year. And we also had, we had Piston Head, which was our beer sponsor. We had fully stocked fridges. So, you're playing back there. We want you to enjoy yourself and have a good day and experience the festival in the best way possible. And additionally, what we did too is for all the bands that were playing, you got a wristband that got you into both days. So there
wasn't additional cover. There was some chatter about additional bars charging cover on top of the wristbands. That didn't happen though. Where I went.
Well, that wasn't on top of the wristband. We were giving people the option to pay at the door.
Oh, okay.
If you
for one venue,
let's say, because that was one of the arguments too. Well, I don't want to pay $40 for a wristband because I'm only going to see my nephew's band at Detour. So we staggered some tickets, limited. But yeah, you could pay at the door if you didn't want to buy the full on $45 wristband or $70 early bird weekend pass or whatever. All the price points we had were different, but which I still think were reasonably priced.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Pat Murphy is with Union Events, talent buyer with Union Events, and one of the organizers for Scene Music Fest. Ripped it up this weekend. Looking forward to next year. Thanks for making the time. We'll stay in touch. Thanks for sending over those acts for the Sunday show. It's been working out really well.
Yeah.
Cardinals were nice.
Yeah, they're great. Thanks for the support.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pam King is up next. We're going to talk about sleeping in the street for homelessness awareness here in Niagara region, right here on the Kevin Jack Show on 610 CKTB.
Floating all around you, and all of them are talking, and the comedians, hey,
talk, great debate. It's the Kevin Jack Show. Call now, 905-688-2582. Toll free at 1-877-610-2582. Or text Kevin with your thoughts and opinions at 61010. And now, back to the Kevin Jack Show.
Welcome back. I am Jim Fannon, filling in for Kevin Jack. We're here till 7 o'clock. Coming up, we've got a packed show for you today. Thanks to Pat Murphy, Union Events. Getting in and talking about the Scene Music Festival. Looks like they're doing a good job. A couple of logistical things to work out. Up next, Pam King's going to talk to us for a little bit. And then we got Juliet Dunn coming in as well, and Erin Visentin from the Niagara Music Awards talking about the Friendship Festival tomorrow for Canada Day. Pam King, thank you for coming in and taking the time.
Well, thank you very much.
It's scorcher out there. I hope you didn't walk.
No, I didn't. It is hot out there.
Now, for the listeners that don't know you, I know you've done several interviews on this station and others before. Tyler's Warmth is something that most people know from Pam King. So tell us a little bit about that, where it started and why.
My youngest son, Tyler, he was killed in 2007. And after Tyler was killed, the first Christmas, I was Christmas shopping and used to buying triples of everything, having 3 boys. And instead of buying a third in Tyler's memory and donating it, what I did was I bought hats, mitts, and scarves, a tradition Tyler had always done, and I donated that to the marginalized people. I used the Christmas money I would have spent on Ty, and I continued the tradition that Tyler had established in his teen years.
Now, at 18 years old, was his moral compass just out there? I mean, most kids aren't worried about the less fortunate at 18 years old. All they want to do is rock and roll and party with their friends.
Ty had a real heart of gold. That was just his personality. He cared about others as much as he cared about himself, but he was very caring about those around him. Okay. And in this case, people he wouldn't even necessarily come into contact with or know were people that would go without.
So what happened to Ty?
Tyler was killed by a train in Grimsby, September 2007. He was walking down the train tracks, listening to his iPod. And
he just came up behind him? He didn't have any clue?
Yeah.
Wow.
So in just the blink of an eye, my life changed. Obviously, his life, he was gone. And so his brothers and I have tried to continue on as best as we can.
Now, something you can't even make reason of. I mean, how do you say you never get over it? I've had death close to me as well, not somebody as intimate as a child. My mother always used to say, we're supposed to die before you. If I had to bury you, it'd be, I don't know how I'd get over it. How did you get over it?
I don't think I ever did get over it, and I don't think I ever will. Quite honestly, I think my life stopped.
Well, it hasn't stopped. Look at you. You're doing great. I mean,
thank you.
Things could be worse, definitely. I mean, we all face challenges, but you're out there in the community. It's, obviously you don't ever move on or get over, and I get that, but you have to get up in the morning. And I can't imagine, after losing an 18-year-old son, that there's much reason for that. Some days you might just wake up and say, I can't do this today.
I think, though, and Tyler would expect me to continue on, and I have to for his brothers. They can't have their mom just fall apart.
Right.
That's just not an option. There's certainly many times I've had setbacks. It's not as easy, or it hasn't been as smooth as people may think it is. By me being in public doesn't mean I don't have bad days. Absolutely not. So what I've done is I never thinking in 2007 I was creating a charity, but from that first Christmas, me buying that warmth, then the following Christmas, I was a real estate broker still then, and the following Christmas I would ask my clients if their children had outgrown their winter clothing. Did you have any old blankets you want to give me? Any sleeping bags? The first year we had maybe 50 pieces were donated to me. The next year 200, then 500, then 2,000 pieces. Every year it snowballed. And last year we collected about 65,000 pieces, and we give all that warmth out for free in Niagara to anyone for any reason. Comes to our one-day event, and with the help of hundreds of volunteers. This isn't
Alex
something.
DeGenis is promoting you very hard.
Alex is huge. Alex is definitely a huge supporter.
How did you pick up on him? I mean, he's everywhere, but did he land on your lap or vice versa?
I don't know which lap we landed on. It was actually a mutual friend of ours through the rowing community connected us. And actually, the first phone call I ever had with Alex, we had never met. I didn't even know what he looked like. He didn't know who I was. First phone call we had, he was on board.
He's a beautiful man. And
he's never left. Yeah, I owe an awful lot to him.
Cool. Now tell us about your new gig. You're sleeping in the street. Now you've decided that you're going to bring awareness to the Niagara region homeless problem. So how do you connect the dots on this, and why are you the person for this?
Last winter, or I should say this past winter, I went out on 4 of the 6 winter advisories. And I took coats, hats, mitts, and scarves onto the street. And by doing that, I was coming up close with people who were freezing on the streets. And it was then I knew that I had to bring more awareness to it. The community groups that are here and the charities that are here are fantastic, and they do a great job. But I have so many people that donate warmth to me, donate their old clothes to me, that still question if there really are homeless on the street. And they question if there really is poverty in St. Catharines and in Niagara, simply because they don't see it. So I thought if I position myself that I'm homeless for one night, that the dialogue will continue. There'll be a fresh look at it, that there truly are people living on the street.
And so July 3rd?
July 3rd, 8 o'clock.
How bad are you going to rough it? I mean, what if it rains?
If it rains, I'll get wet.
Are you bringing a sleeping bag, pillow? What? Are you just making the best of the bus bench, or have you got it arranged with the NRP? They're not going to come and pick you up?
They're aware. Okay. They're aware that I'm going out. Yes. Yeah, okay. I told them.
Now you're doing it right downtown St. Catharines?
I'm doing it on James Street between Church and King.
Okay.
This Thursday night, starting at 8 o'clock.
So where's that business-wise, so we can
beside City Hall.
Okay.
Beside City Hall. Anybody's welcome to come out. There are some people that have already committed to coming out, and hopefully they'll be able to make it. Their schedules won't change. So I'm
How many people have
10 or 12 have committed
to
coming. Seriously.
Just in the last, what? You only promoted this a couple of weeks ago, did you?
And actually, as soon as I put it on Facebook, there were some people that immediately Facebooked me and asked if they didn't want to see me do it alone, and they had their own reasons to encourage awareness.
Nobody likes to sleep alone, even in the street. So July 3rd, 8 to 8.
Yes.
You're going to be just beside City Hall?
Just
where they've closed the street down there as well?
Yes, right there.
Okay. And what, adjacent to the Market Square, or on City Hall property, or in the street? Right on the street. We're going to be right on the street and any of the homeless people can be with us, or anybody who wants to sleep out can sleep out with us. And as I said, it's all about encouraging dialogue, because there's so many groups here that are helping them, but it's more the awareness for people who donate to be aware that there really is a strong need here. Pam King is my guest. Christine, hang on to the phone. We'll get to you after the break, right here on the Kevin Jack Show on 610 CKTV.
Broadcasting live from the CKTV studios in Niagara, it's the Kevin Jack Show.
Here come the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster. Dial emergency number. Still love you like that.
Call now, 905-688-2582, 1-877-610-2582.
Yeah, man.
Or text Kevin with your thoughts and opinions at 61010.
Welcome back. I am Jim Fannon. Pam King and I are having some fun getting the headphones working in the studio here. Patrick Smolarek running the board. I'm filling in for KJ. We're here today, Thursday and Friday. I think Lee Sterry's in for the rest of the week. Pam King is sleeping out on the street to bring awareness to Niagara Region's homeless problem. Now, do you have some stats on homelessness? You have a number of bodies, or nope?
No. No. Sorry, but there's 7,500 affordable homes in Niagara. That was the kind of stats we had.
Okay.
Is the affordability for housing. I did want to address, though, that in Niagara, Ontario Works has gone up 47% since 2008. So that's what we used to call welfare back in the day. So that's the kind of increase there's been here in Niagara.
A good indicator. You willing to take a phone call?
Sure.
Christine, you're on with Pam King. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Unbelievable. Thanks for taking the time to call in and talk to Pam King.
Oh, it's an honor.
You got a question for her?
Yeah, actually, I do. Pam, I've been listening to you, and you're such an inspiration. I wanted to come out on Thursday night, but I can't make it. What can I do to help out, though?
Well, thank you, Christine, for calling. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you. If you're not able to make it on Thursday, you still can be part of this. If you want to donate old clothes, footwear, sleeping bags, and blankets, you can do that in advance of Thursday. If you want to donate that to Meridian Credit Union on King Street in St. Catharines, or to Henley Honda on Lake Street in St. Catharines before or after the event. Or for those that can come during the event, we can accept donations of the old clothes at that time.
Are we taking cash for donations as well at Meridian?
No, we don't take financing.
Okay.
We don't take any financial donations.
Okay.
Yeah, we never do. We run without money. So everything for Tyler's Warmth is done 100% on volunteer energy and volunteer resources.
Christine, you say you're not be able to make it out on Thursday. Have you got a delegate maybe you could send out to keep Pam company? It sounds like she's not going to need much.
Oh, you know what? I will see what I can do. But I will definitely be dropping clothes off.
Thank you very much, Christine. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for calling.
Very much.
So, Pam, Thursday, 8 o'clock. Now, are we to bring clothing to the site as well?
You can bring it to the site Thursday from 8 at night till 8 in the morning. As I said, it's sleeping bags, blankets, old clothes, and old footwear. We'll accept all of that from size infant to adult, male and female.
Now, how are you getting your word out there other than social media? I see you're pretty well versed at social media. You're all over Facebook. You seem to get lots of responses from your postings. So how else are you getting the word out?
Social media, using the radio stations in Niagara and the newspaper. So we've got the support. So, and as I said, I've been emailing a lot of people as well, as far as inviting them out and encouraging them to forward on that email to their influence.
Now, is this a trans? You just moved from Tyler's Warmth to something that's kind of in the same wheelhouse as far as clothing and whatnot. How did you get to this point? Why did you pick homelessness as your next subject to tackle?
Families that come out to Tyler's Warmth, our big event in November, they're aware of the event. They come out, they pick the clothing. Unfortunately, not as many of the homeless come to our event because they either forget about the event or they're more disconnected from the rest of the population. So that was my need to go out to them, and I would pack my car up, as I mentioned to you, and I'd take the clothing out to them on the street. I go into parks, I go into alleys, and I actually give them clothing that way. Seeing them this past winter being as cold, just brutal as it was, that's when I knew that I have to bring more awareness to the homelessness here. Because as I said, the people are generous enough to donate clothing to us, but they're not realizing how much of a need there is here. There's a real disconnect with that, with the people that donate, a lot of them.
905-688-2582. My guest is Pam King. She's sleeping out on the street to bring awareness to the Niagara region's homelessness problem. And like I said, it's something that flies under the radar a little bit because we don't see them as identifiable as in the big cities when we go out. We see them a lot more. I mean, we've got a certain amount of panhandlers and beggars, I guess, for lack of a better term. But this is, in a small town like St. Catharines, relatively a small town, this isn't something that's got a spotlight shining on it. What other groups have come to the table to help you out on this?
As far as for Thursday, there hasn't been any group. I'm doing this on my own. Okay. And then, as I said, there's volunteers that have come out to volunteer to sleep with me. But this isn't...
That sounds funny.
And hopefully, as I said, weather-wise, hopefully the weather's good so everybody can still come out because this is rain or shine.
Right.
Before we started our interview today, I was talking with Pat Murphy, and he said when he was setting up for the musical festival in Montebello Park last Wednesday, there was 10 homeless in the park when they started to build Wednesday morning.
Really?
So he said he was surprised. As I said, they rolled up 7 o'clock in the morning, and there was 10 homeless just in that one area.
Well, props to you. I'm really glad that you came in on such a hot day like today. I hope you get some good weather for it, and I'm sure you get some media coverage. For sure. I mean, how can you do something like this without blowing it up? So, well,
I appreciate your interest to spread the awareness of this, and your concern for how this can help others with the winter coming 6 months from now when it's a lot colder than it is in this extreme heat.
For sure. Now, just before we go, you're a single mom?
Yes.
You're rolling out there by yourself, helping the homeless people. Is it in the back of your mind that security might be an issue, walking down back alleys and taking care of homeless people? Not
no.
that they're that violent, but, it's, you don't know these people. So is there ever a concern for your own safety when you're out there?
I'm not concerned about that, no. I don't ever put myself in situations or places where I never go into areas that you wouldn't feel safe. I don't go into those situations either. I'm mindful of that.
Nicely done. Thank you for coming in, and good luck to you, and we'll check in with you on Thursday.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Thank
Pam
you, Jim.
King is my guest. Pam, just on the way out, contact information, Twitter information, Facebook?
TylersWarmth.com,
okay.
And my phone number is 905-246-8628.
Well done. Pam King will be sleeping out July 3rd. That's Thursday night, 8 to 8. Right downtown St. Catharines by the Market Square. And our little kiosk there where we close the street down between Market Square and City Hall. Coming up next, Erin Visentin is the Niagara Music Awards. Hey, and we've got a little bit of an announcement to tease for the next segment. She's going to launch it when we get back right here on 610 CKTV.
It's the Kevin Jack Show, only on the One Voice for Niagara. News Talk 610 CKTV. Got something to say to KJ? Call now. 905-688-2582. 1-877-610-2582. Or text your opinion to 61010.
Is this the way that I should feel? Is this the way that I should feel? Is there a need to be concerned? Have they done studies? What have they learned? What have they learned? I fear that soon I'll lose.
Welcome back. I'm Jim Fannon for Kevin Jack.
Well, I fear that soon I'll lose.
This is my disorder. There's another one of my disorders. Erin Visentin, thanks for taking the time to call us. How are you today, Erin?
I'm fantastic, Jim.
Fantastic. Thanks for leading me into that. That's perfect. Niagara Music Awards take the stage at the Friendship Festival tomorrow. What time?
Yeah, 3:30.
3:30 now.
Straight South starts the show.
Who does?
Straight South.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with them. You have to line them up to get them into my show as well.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Straight South. I don't see them on the list here. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and then Phenine Reed, Corey Cruz, Paige, The CAC, Book of Wanderers, The Black Flies, Aaron Berger, and Barbudos. And that's the day, and it's going to be so awesome. I'm so excited.
Do you need any help with it at all?
Oh, well, I was looking for a host, you know.
I can do that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm in.
All right.
What time do you need me at?
Be there at 2:00.
MC.
I'll email you the info, and I'll get you to MC, homie.
Perfect. Now tell me the location, logistics. It's free, right?
It's totally free. I'm not sure if they're going to have fireworks. They better have fireworks.
Right.
Because it is Canada Day.
Yeah.
So it's in Fort Erie. And that's that. It's the Friendship Festival is a celebration between America and Canada.
Right.
So it's going to be big, and I'm really, really excited. I'm praying for good weather.
Sounds like you're going to get it.
Yeah, feels like it, you know.
So free concert. We got Corey Cruz, Phenine Reed, Straight South. Oh, there they are. I skipped over them. Paige Kopp. She's a stud, straight up. Speaking of studs, the CAC himself doesn't suck too much either. A Book for Wanderers. These guys played my show. A lot of these guys did. Just a haunting, spooky, kind of Pink Floyd-ish-esque, spooky band, but talented as hell.
Vibe. Yeah, it's going to be such a cool vibe for that little time slot he's got there. And,
Anthony Botting, after he played, what was Springalicious, you see his guitar says it looked like a vampire played it. There was blood all over his guitar. Talk about playing your guitar till the finger bled. A Book for Wanderers, you got to check these guys out, specifically Anthony Botting. He plays the strings off that guitar.
Yeah, he was bleeding pretty bad. It looked really vicious. He gets into it, eh?
Black Flies.
I think I'm going to put out a little carpet for him to stand on.
Yeah.
On stage, so it doesn't make a mess all over the stage.
That'll help. The Black Flies, and one of my favorites, although I haven't seen all these bands, so I shouldn't pick favorites, Aaron Berger. Black Flies came in, they said...
What a voice Aaron Berger has.
Wow.
He's got such an awesome voice, and his music is so upbeat. It's going to be a great way, for the evening of the show. When he gets on stage, I know everyone's going to love him. It's just amazing.
Now, Black Flies come in, they play the show, they drop a CD on me, they say, Erin Berger wanted you to have this. I stick it in my deck in my car, and it literally it came out a bunch of times just to take into people's houses to introduce them to the music because I'm obsessed with it. And then at My Stage Mondays last week, I said, dude, my CD's skipping. He's like, oh, I'll get you another one. So he's got me, the one that's skipping isn't too bad. I can listen to 5 or 6 songs, so I'll give that one away and keep my new one. But just a really nice boy. And then when I heard St. Catharines in the lyrics of a song, it's called In St. Catharines. Here's a Niagara Falls kid, moves to downtown St. Catharines, falls in love with downtown and the music scene, and then writes a song about it like it was his girlfriend or something.
He loves St. Catharines.
Really well done.
Yeah, I have some free albums to give out too tomorrow. Maybe throw them into the crowd.
Yeah, Paige Kopp, speaking of being thrown into the crowd, are you expecting her to crowd surf while she's playing her set? She's usually in the mosh pit anyways. You got to wire this girl up with a wireless remote and then get her out with her skinny jeans and let her crowd surf a little bit.
Just pick her up and throw her in, Jim.
She's only 75 pounds soaking wet. And a young girl, too. So congratulations to you guys. I am honored to come out and help you guys out. I hope you get me some decent notes, and I'm just praying that the weather will be good. Talk to us a little bit about the Niagara Music Awards. When and how first, when is the deadline to get music submissions in, and how do people get them in?
That's our big thing now. We want all artists to submit. We've actually extended the submissions to the end of July. So July 31st is the deadline now. We've extended it a few weeks, and that's good news. So there's more time for people to get their music out. So just go online, NiagaraMusicAwards.ca. It's all online, $10 for 3 songs. It's not much. It's better than all the other years. And submit your music, because you never know. You could be on the stage tomorrow, like next year, at Friendship Festival playing. We're doing this every year now. So
and talk to me about some of the award winners that you're proud of and that you're pimping on the way out this year. Other than the guys that are playing. I mean, you guys have been doing this a long time. Is this 8?
Yeah.
The 8th Niagara Music Awards?
The what? Sorry?
This the 8th annual, right?
No, this is the 7th.
7th, sorry, okay.
Yep.
And
this is the 7th. It's 007.
Talk to us about some of your former winners, other than the people. I mean, you've had quite the crew come through the Niagara Music Awards.
Oh, yeah, we've had Tom Hicks. He just won a Juno Award.
Tim Hicks, yeah, beautiful. We're working on him to come in.
Oh, yeah, Tim Hicks, yeah. And, oh, gosh, there's so many people who have won over the years. Everybody.
Erin Visentin, how do we get a hold of you? How do we tweet you out, add you up on Facebook? What's your contact information, just for everyone, just in case they want to get a submission out? And you have to be a Niagara band, or just one person in the band's got to be from Niagara? How's it go?
Well, you got to be from the region, so it's Fort Erie, St. Catharines, Niagara, all the Niagara region, the whole region. You go on NiagaraMusicAwards.ca. You can find us on Facebook, Niagara Music Awards, or you can find us on Twitter, NMA Updates. Follow us. We'll follow you back. You'll get some good information on what's going on with the awards, which are in September.
Okay.
And that's how you get at us. Submit your stuff. I want to hear your music. So
are you at My Stage Mondays tonight, or are you too busy with this upcoming date? Because they got a new gig.
I'm gonna try and make it out. I heard they have a stage outside.
Yeah, 6 o'clock they're starting, so they're well into it now. I was chasing down Erin Berger, but I don't think I was able to secure the interview. He's probably busy with.
He's doing My Stage Mondays.
Exactly.
And, and I like to say Rock Our Town which Erin Berger is involved with, is it supports every artist online. It's like a radio station. They've been a great supporter of us. They're going to be playing all the artists that have been nominated in the past, who have won in the past. They're going to be hosting interviews online. So that's Rock Our Town. Check that out too. They're on Twitter. They're online. Rock Our Town. Put that in, and they're awesome too. They're great supporters of the scene as well.
Thanks, Erin. We're going to hook you up tomorrow. Thanks for coming in and taking the time. Good luck.
I will see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks. That's Erin Visentin. She is the executive director for the Niagara Music Awards. Your time is 6:28 and a half. Got news coming up at the bottom of the hour. And then Jason, Juliet Dunn, going to talk Niagara Jazz Festival. We're all culture radio. We're submersed in it here. Right here on the Kevin Jack Show on 610 CKTV.
You're listening to The Kevin Jack Show, only on the One Voice for Niagara, News Talk 610 CKTB. Call now, 905-688-2582, 1-877-610-2582, or text us your opinion to 61010.
Welcome back. I am Jim Fannon, covering for Kevin Jack today, Thursday and Friday. Actually, well, I got you here. Juliet Dunn is in. Thank you for taking the time in this scorcher today.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be in an air-conditioned studio, actually.
You had to get it down. Larry had the fireplace on in here when I got in here. It was hot. Tell us about the Niagara Jazz Festival and how it's working out for you so far.
Oh, my gosh.
This has got to be a big job for you guys.
It's very big, yeah.
Now, it started out a few years ago. Somebody else did it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's been dormant for
like 6-7 years,
okay.
Yeah. So Michael Reason, who was running Music on the Henley, did it in, I always forget if it's 07 or 08, but I think it was 07. And Peter and I saw him recruiting volunteers at Port Dalhousie, and we marched up and said, Niagara Jazz Festival, are there any Niagara musicians involved? And he said, no, I'm bringing in Holly Cole and some other people. We're like, oh. And then we said, And then we ended up working with him. We said, well, we'd like to volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started our relationship with Michael Reason back then. We were volunteers for the festival. It was a 2-day, I believe. But of course, because we gig, we couldn't, we missed the Holly Cole performance, but we did as much as we could. Got to know Michael, who's a great guy. And then he had it all lined up to do it the next year, but his wife got a job running a theater. I can't remember if it was Picton, but it was out of town. So they had to drop everything, leave town. And at the time, Peter and I were working overseas kind of every winter, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months at a time. So we were like, ooh, that's not a good time for us to take over. Plus, it's a huge thing to take over. So we weren't ready back then. And we kind of left it dormant. And then 2011, started working at Jazz FM 91, so stopped traveling as much because I have a show every weekend. We started the Jazz series that maybe you want to talk about.
Yeah, the Twilight Jazz series.
I should mention Peter Shea's in the booth, too.
Oh, sorry.
I'm here. Yes.
I'm looking at him like I imagine everybody can see him.
Then we just ignored him. Juliet Dunn, Peter Shea in the house.
That's my husband.
Thanks, Peter.
I'm here for moral support.
Very patient. Thank you.
Yeah, the Twilight Jazz series was kind of like our brainchild for many. We talked about it for a while. We started a jazz jam actually over at Dom's downtown.
That's right, yeah.
And that was sort of our.
That was step one.
Everything's like humble beginnings and first steps, and it winds up coming manifesting something in the future. And now, 3 years down the road, I can hardly believe what we've accomplished with our. We've had like over 70 bands in our jazz series, and
wait, you skipped ahead though.
No, I mean just in our jazz.
Oh, in the jazz series.
In the jazz series, having that experience under our belts has really helped prepare us for this. What I call it's an epic undertaking. Yes. It's like coordinating, several weddings at once. Like It's pretty epic running a jazz festival. I can't believe we're doing.
How many locations?
7.
Wow!
And 3 days. It's 3 days nonstop. Like
talking about 7 weddings, over
7 weddings,
days.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, how you been finding? I know you're not a classic Niagara native.
No, but I've been here for 12 years.
Right.
I came out in 2002 for the Shaw Festival.
Right.
Yeah, and then the jazz scene.
You came out here for work at the jazz.
Yeah, as an actress
Shaw.
and singer.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Not musical theater and acting, and then did a couple of years with Shaw, Carousel Players, did some tours. Then got into. I've always loved jazz, but I'd never sung professionally. I just loved it, and it was through a guy I met at Shaw, Matt Weaver, who's a jazz drummer, and he had a band. Got involved with his band. And then kind of just took it from there. And that would have been about, this is before I met Peter, this would have been about, I'm going to say 2005, had probably my first paid jazz gig at the Funky Tomato, Frank's Tomato Pie in the Falls.
I remember the place.
That was in 2006,
I used
think.
to play there too.
Or 5 or 6, yeah. Before we knew each other, we played at a lot of similar places.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that's kind of how I've just kind of stayed here in Niagara, and wasn't working with Shea anymore. Still work with carousel players here and there, and just kind of my career evolved, and bringing it to this, to the jazz festival.
Now, how you find? Well, she gets a little drink.
Yeah.
She'll be used to that.
It's only water.
In between sets. Tell me a little bit about. Have you had buy-in from the community? Have you got some support?
Oh my gosh,
how's that working out for you?
Yeah, no,
because it can be tough picking up something that's started and then stopped, and then it's we're reviving it. No, it's not like it used to be. It's so how's it been trying to sell it around town?
Well, it's been overwhelmingly great. I mean, Michael Reason, first of all, he explained that he had never registered it as the Niagara Jazz Festival because first of all, we said we want to register as a not-for-profit, and so he said, "Yep, I never owned the name," and he actually kind of officially handed it over to us. I had a lunch with him a couple of months ago. So that was fantastic. And in terms of the community, we've had lots of different ideas, and we've been doing meetings for about a year and a half. We've met with the chamber, we've met with different people. We've been talking it up a lot. And because we were a bit late in the game this year to get government funding, you need to plan that quite ahead. And we started to really plan with less than a year in front of us. So
you need more lead time than a year to get funding?
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
And most festivals,
helps, yeah.
I'm already now thinking about next year and what to do. So
what type of funding's available for you? Is it anything significant?
Oh, yeah. Like when you're not for profit, for sure.
Okay.
You can get a lot of government funding. There's the Ontario Arts Council and the Trillium, and then there's the Ontario Music Fund. So lots of, and researching the funding as well. And it makes sense. A lot of them want you to do 2 years without funding. Which
really?
Makes sense, right? Because if you're like, hi,
then
we'd like $50,000.
If you can survive,
yeah,
then they don't mind giving you money after that.
For sure. And I would too, right? I mean, it's like, well, who are you and what have you done? And it's like, well, we've done this jazz series, but they want to see you do a festival. And a lot of them want 2 years before you even ask. And, that makes sense. So we decided, we've had lots of ideas. Oh, let's shut down the street at Niagara on the Lake. Oh, let's do it on the Commons. That would be great. And then it was our chairman of the board, Joe Robertson, said, well, it's our first year. We're going to have to be really careful in how we do it. So let's look at venues that we could do it in and venues that maybe have stages.
Humble beginning, yeah. and start small, baby steps, and don't.
Baby steps, yeah.
What type of money are we looking at to participate as somebody, a spectator? Somebody
coming? Well, we wanted to make it accessible to everyone, so we have paid events that range from $35, $45, $45, $65, and $164 for the big flagship event with the dinner at Jackson Triggs, but we also have free stages as well. So we figured that way we're not shutting out people from the community. If you want to do a big fancy gala event, you can. If you just want to come hang out, bring your lawn chair and, bring the kids, have a glass of wine on the grass, you can do that too. So we've got it pretty much open. And so it all started with Jackson Triggs. We thought, okay, let's talk to them. They have a stage that they use about 10 times a year. But it's a beautiful amphitheater that's there. So that was step one, talking to Jackson Triggs, one meeting, and they were
done.
Open arms, yeah.
Nice.
And we're like, oh. So then we went,
this is easy.
Well, yeah, so to speak. And then we thought, okay, wait a second. I have a long-standing relationship with Stratus Vineyards I used to actually work there pouring wine back in 2005 when they opened, as well as sing. I went back in the day, I went on there, knocked on their door, and I said, here's my resume of everything else, and I also sing jazz. I'm looking for work. And I ended up doing both there, doing jazz as well as serving. And so I've got a long, long relationship with them and hire bands for them quite a bit. And they're right next door. So it was like, oh, if we did something at Jackson Triggs, we could do something at Stratus. Let's talk to them. Open arms. Then there was the Oast House. I know, there's several owners, but one of the owners I know from when I worked at a fitness studio.
Immersed in culture at the Oast House.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're everywhere. All these events that we go to, you see Oast House everywhere. So we're like, and again, right down the road. Then there's
it's so great to see a new business like that just sprung up, just dive right into the culture. Not just in Niagara Lake either. They're all over the region.
They really are. It's pretty impressive how much they're out there, actually. So they were down the road. And then we know Lee from Garrison House. House, who has Zest in Font Hill, and that's across the street. Then you've got the
one
Old
of the
Winery.
best restaurants in Niagara. Very underutilized. I think not too many people know they got some great food out there.
Oh my gosh, that's
Garrison
where we
House totally something different. It's kind of a pub style food, but Zest in Fawn Hill is nuts.
Yeah,
great
that's a
food.
special restaurant for us for anniversaries and right?
Oh yeah.
And then Old Winery, and then Kathy Simpson from the Public Library reached out to us and said, "I've heard what you're doing. How can I get involved?" And we're like, "Excellent, educational portion."
Or better yet, how can I help? Even better, right? I want to be involved. I want to help out. Right?
Yeah, it's so great.
Juliet Dunn, Peter Shea are my guests. One more segment with them. We're on until 7 o'clock for KJ. We're talking Niagara Jazz Festival. I got so many festivals. Scene, NIF, Niagara Jazz Festival. They're launching it. It's coming up this year. We're going to talk about some of the venues. We'll talk about some of the acts, and more importantly, some of the sponsors that are giving these guys some money right here on the Kevin Jack Show on 610 CKTV.
Listening to the Kevin Jack Show, only on the one voice for Niagara, News Talk 610 CKTB. Call now, 905-688-2582, 1-877-610-2582, or text us your opinion to 61010.
Welcome back. I am Jim Fannon. I'm joined with the Niagara Jazz Festival's Juliet Dunn, Peter Shea for security. Now, you guys are also musicians as well.
Yes.
Are you guys gigging? You got anything coming up you want to pimp?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, you forgot all about it. Come on, it's not all about the festival. Are you guys making money off the festival?
No, not this year. No.
We'll get into sponsors in a bit.
Yeah.
Tell us about any gigs that you got coming up.
Yeah, what do we got coming up? You might have some that I don't.
Right now, just some private parties and stuff, but I offhand, I can't think of anything.
Oh, yeah, we got a private Canada Day party tomorrow.
Right. How do people book you? How do they get a hold of you?
Oh, I do most of the bookings, so Juliet at julietdunn.ca for bookings, or bookings at julietdunn.ca, and they can get a hold of Peter that way too. I'm emceeing for the jazz stage at Sunfest in London next weekend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
emceeing's great, eh?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I
an
just did it for
incredible
the
festival.
Kiwanis Music Awards, their Festival of Stars, just because I've been, as you know, bringing in for my Sunday show, bringing in live acts.
Yeah.
And Ann Damey said, hey, handwritten letter mailed to the station. Do you want to be my MC? I'm like, I only emceed one wedding before. It went really well, but I said, yeah, I'll do it. They had everything so organized. I went up. It was on Kojiko. I haven't seen it yet, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
And Erin, I bumped into her at Scene. I'm like, you got a host? You got an MC? Yeah, me. No, you got too much to do, man. You can't do it all. I'll do it. She says, really?
Oh,
I said, yeah. So emceeing's great. I'll be
It
at
is.
Friendship Festival tomorrow.
Oh, fantastic.
So next week you're in London?
I'm in London, and yes, we've got a gig because we had a gig together, and I had to sub out to MC at Wellington Court Cafe.
Wellington Court Cafe, that's right.
Eric
That's
Peacock.
next Friday, Peter.
One of the best cooks in the region.
Eric Peacock, yes.
Yeah, my cousin.
He's your cousin? He's a good friend of mine. We were in the
He's a
fraternity
good man.
together in high school.
There's try and find a guy like Alex DeGenis. Try and find one person in Niagara say a bad thing about Eric Peacock.
You can't.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Great guy and talented. Great reputation.
Yeah, it's so good.
Incredible chef.
So
Speaking
you're there
of
next
money.
Friday. Oh.
You're there next Friday?
Yes.
7:30 to 10:30.
7:30 to 10:30. I'll be there.
On the patio at Wellington Court?
Yep.
Nice.
Weather permitting, I mean, depending.
That'll be great.
Who did you bring to the table with checks this year?
Well, today we had our media launch at Jackson.
Sorry, I missed that. I thought I could have made it out. But.
Yeah, no worries. So I've got a list. I'd like to.
Get it?
Can I? Yeah. So of course our venue partners. I don't know if I mentioned them all by name, but Jackson Trigg, Stratus Vineyards, The Village, Brookfield Residential. So The Village and Brookfield Residential are sponsoring our outdoor stage.
Oh, good.
Where the supper market is. We've got the Garrison House, Oast House Brewery, and the Public Library. So those are all the venue sponsors, and they're all within walking distance. Then sponsors and partners, we have Armstrong, bless you, Armstrong Strategy, Canadian Tire Financial Services. We just brought on Steinway Piano Gallery, who are going to provide a piano for the outdoor stage of Steinway.
Look at you.
And for the Jackson Trigg.
It was a pretty epic moment. I just have to say this was a pretty epic moment in our lives when Juliet was getting there's an answering machine message from Shiraz from Steinway saying, I'm sorry I haven't got back to you, but Yeah, I'm currently working on. I'm setting up the pianos for Keith Jarrett
at the TD Toronto.
And I've
Festival.
just about lost my breath. I was like, that's incredible.
Yeah, that was the other day. That was pretty cool. Was pretty cool. So that just came on last week. Long and McQuaid. So they're going to be providing backline. My own company, Jade, Twilight Jazz, which is Peter and I. We've got Shauna Arnott and Moby Events. Kim and Luke from the Brain Farm doing all of our creative.
Nice.
Our law firm for the incorporation, who is then are also sponsoring, is Lancaster, Brooks and Welch. So all local. Odon Wagner Gallery from Toronto. Durward Jones Barkwell. Metrolinx, which is
Metrolinx. What? You gonna bring a GO train down there?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is
GO buses
in the works.
Some GO buses, yeah.
In the works.
We've got Corks in Niagara on the Lake. We've got Niagara Belle, which is that new paddle boat that's coming to Niagara on the lake. Niagara Culinary Tours. We've got Lucha and Bean, who do all the lovely clothing. NCT Elite Cars, Your Designated Driver, which we're really fond of because, wine and jazz go together. And we've been working with them with our Twilight Jazz series. So they basically drive you home in your car. So instead of taking a cab and you have to pick up your car the next day,
right?
They bring an extra car. They drive you home in your car, and then they drive away.
Perfect.
So we're big fans of Your Designated
And at a very,
Driver.
very reasonable price, too.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's much cheaper to do that than it is to actually do the dual cab
thing, yeah.
And they're going to be giving a discount to all the festival goers, which is great. We've got, as hotel partners, White Oaks Resort and Spa, the Oban Inn, 124 on Queen, and Brand Boulevard. And then today...
Jeez, you guys have been busy.
Yeah, I know.
Was Don Zeraldo on that list?
Not yet, but
You can't do a jazz festival in Niagara Lake without Don Zeraldo.
Let's call him up.
I just did. Don, get a hold of these guys.
And we have, as our presenting sponsor, we've been keeping the secret for 3 weeks. It's been really hard. We have TD Canada Trust as our presenting sponsor, and they do all of the jazz festivals across Canada, and they do about 85 music festivals.
Right.
Yeah. So we're very happy.
When's this breaking? Right now?
It broke at 12:30 at the media lodge.
We just had the big blown-up check. I couldn't fit it in my wallet, so I've...
Peter wanted to bring the check in. I'm like, Peter, it's a radio interview.
He doesn't get it.
He's like, but honey,
I just wanted to bring the big check in.
You're the brains and the pretty one, obviously. Peter Shea, thank you very much for coming in today. Juliet Dunn, classic. Pleasure. It was great to have you guys in here last time to actually play for us, so I'm glad to get you in here and give you a little bit of pub. On the way out, just give us the contact information, websites, and anything else we need to get a hold of you.
Website, Peter?
The website is www.niagarajazzfest.com.
Festival.
NiagaraJazzFestival.com.
Yeah, Twitter handles at Jazz Niagara. Facebook is Niagara Jazz Fest. And if you like us, you can win 2 free tickets to the flagship event at Jackson Triggs.
I like you.
See?
Does that work?
Triple like
I got some tickets for you.
I gotta like you on Facebook.
That easy.
And then, hey, you know what else we got? We have a 1-800 number, 1-844-LIVE-JAZZ.
You're so proud. Look at you. You're like a little girl.
That was really fun. Some might say Live Jazz, some might say Live Jazz because it's spelled L-I-V, but it's all the same number. 1-844-LIVE-JAZZ.
Nicely done, guys. Thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thank you to Pat Murphy from coming in from Union Events talking about Scene, to Pam King for sleeping out Thursday night. Not alone. She will sleep with you, but there will be other people around, and it's in the middle of the street, okay? Pam King for coming in, formerly of Tyler's Warmth. Still Tyler's Warmth with a great heartwarming story. Aaron Berger, well, we missed him, but Aaron from the NMAs. Erin Visentin, thanks for coming in. Juliet Dunn and Peter Shea. Nicely done. Friday. I'm in Thursday as well. 5 to 7 for KJ. But Friday, I'm a little bit stoked about this. Alex Pearson, Sun News Network. You know Sun News, that if you're a lefty like me or a social conservative or whatever you call me, greenie, you know how you turn on Sun News Network and Ezra Levant comes on and you want to throw something at the TV? Apparently he's a really nice guy. He's not coming on the show, but Alex Pearson started out in Hamilton at CHCH TV. She was at City TV as anchor, CP24 Global News. Just a really, really straight-up news anchor. Big fan of hers. She'll be in with me Friday in the 6 o'clock hour, so check that out. I'm going to go head-to-head with one of the enemies at the Sun News Network. She says she's a social progressive, socially conservative. So she says we can find some things to agree about. I am Jim Fannon for Kevin Jack. Your time is 6:58. Thanks to Patrick Smolarek for running the board and all my guests for coming in. We'll catch you on Thursday, 5 to 7, right here on 610 CKTB.